What is up, sexy people? It is Dave, it is Duncan, it is Ross back for our top 20 of 2024 on part 3. We will be chatting about our number 10 down to number 6. And this is where it gets serious, gentlemen.
So this is the known bit. This is the stuff that people know, but they don't know that they know the name, but they don't know the why, Dave.
The why. Okay.
Gonna give them the why.
Let's give them the why. Number 10 is, and this is like where it gets super tight between releases, because I scored every album in this top 10 a 5. Like every single one
How
of them.
many 5s did you give out?
I
a lot of
don't want
fives.
to, I don't want to count them, Duncan, to be honest.
Well, it's
wanna
interesting
know.
you say that, Dave. I counted how many 5s I gave out as part
really?
of my stats. This year, I gave out 26 5-star reviews. Which, if you're someone that knows maths and knows stuff out there, means that every second week in the year 2024, I gave out a 5-star review.
Yeah.
I gave
98
out
albums didn't get a 5. There we go.
I gave out 23 4.5-star reviews. I gave out 26 4-star reviews. I gave 6 3.5-star reviews, 2 2.5-star reviews, and apparently I miscounted how many reviews I did. So all those numbers likely wrong.
Well,
You're welcome.
everything in this list is we're down to like granular level of details and differences here. But kicking off my number 10, none other than Los Angeles-based dream metal band Iris and their new album Sleep Now in Reverse,
Nice.
which was released on July 26th via Church Road Records.
Where can you buy that vinyl, Dave?
You can buy this on the Bandcamp for the band, which is available online, obviously, or you can go to the Church Road Records
Oh,
website
Church Road Records. All right, that's
and
interesting.
purchase a little copy. Wait to see this vinyl.
Is
by
it
the way.
purple?
It is.
Derby purple.
Oh,
Look at that.
Just what
I'd almost make me buy a turntable, honestly.
Just for the cover.
But my wife would divorce me. And the kids would go shortly after it.
Duncan, I'm on my way, my man. I'm on my way.
I did see the BBC posted an article today, the day that which we're recording, which is the 8th of January, to say that vinyl sales have once again, in the last year, elevated the music industry. And I did think it's interesting they should say that in the first full calendar year that Dave's had a turntable. How many are we up to? Over
He's
100?
propping up the economy by himself.
Over
yeah,
200?
we're over 100. No, we're not at the 200 yet, but
Close? Spitting distance.
No, I don't think so. I think the first kind of rack or box that I bought, I think it holds 140, so it's almost full. So we must be around that area somewhere.
Have you counted them though?
I did at one point. I stopped counting though.
Do you have an app or something? That you
I do.
can catalog?
I do. It'll be in
So
there.
you
I'm
could
sure.
check, but you're not gonna. I
Let's
like
not.
it, Dave. You're like that. Keep it vague. Keep
yeah.
it in a way where I don't have to commit to a number, which will make Duncan judge me.
It's going
I
to
like
change
what
in the
you're
next couple of days anyway, Duncan. So, yeah, this album, I'll keep it short. Duncan's already mentioned this one. This is just a joy to listen to. It's been my chill out album for the majority of 2024. And it kind of just hits in a different way. It's not hyper technical or not even like imposingly heavy. It's just got something about it that's more kind of profound than those things. It's got a real kind of emotional current that just kind of pulls you in and just keeps you there for the album's runtime. Musically, if you like shoegaze with bits of doom and even like touches of like grunge at times, then this is an album to check out. It's such a seamless listen, and whatever the genre, it's presented to you in a very kind of like dream-like quality that you just find yourself being immersed in. I love this. It's brooding. It's ethereal. It's such an absorbing kind of journey, which is like equal parts intimate and kind of cinematic, but just brilliant. Musically is brilliant. Vocally, Michelle Malley she just takes this album to another level. Just it's somber, but it's angelic. It's fragile. It's sensual at times. Just very kind of floaty kind of vocals that just like echoes right through the album. Just haunting is a good word for our vocals actually on this release. Probably one of my favorite vocal performances of this year actually. Yeah, full of highlights, stunning production, sounds awesome on vinyl. If you have got a turntable, I'd recommend it. I'm not getting commissioned or anything like that. I'm being genuinely serious. And like it looks sexy as fuck. I mean, it's pink vinyl, man. Why would you not? So that's my number 10. Iris, Sleep Now in reverse. Duncan, number 10.
Now, if you watched the previous video, and why would you not watch the previous? You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to advocate for watching in order. Who does a top 20 and starts at the 10? If you're doing that, you're a cunt. Go back, check them out, and if you are doing that, then you may have hit the 11 mark, which would be logically the last thing you should check before checking this video out. And on that, you should have heard a little conversation with the main man, Dave, here saying, I willed this album to be in my 10, and it just missed out. Dave, I'm at your back.
Yeah.
Where you put something down, I will pick it up. That is our relationship, and it will never fucking change. And you know what? It's solid as a rock. Hot. And this is fucking hot. I very rarely go balls deep on what I would class as traditional hardcore.
Yeah.
I very seldom do it. It's a genre that I appreciate, kind of like, you know what I mean? There's occasional albums that come out more recently where I'm like that, right, it's tapping into that 90s sound, that 90s vibe that, you know, I didn't like at the time, but now that I'm getting older, I kind of wish I could go back. Gotta go back in time. And this band makes me go back in time by the prowess of the flot. Let's play a little flot here. Speed, only one mode, Flat Spot Records, back out in July. I come across this band via TikTok. This was fucking everywhere, and it was that breakdown where the flute comes in, and I remember thinking, this is fake. Like AI's got really sophisticated. Someone's typed in, give me 90s hardcore and a flute. What would happen if Ron Burgundy, if Anchorman clashed with Madball? And I didn't know it was a real band for about a month and a half afterwards, and they really came on my radar, and you never really mentioned it. I won't spend a huge amount of time on it. They are hardcore in the way that I love hardcore, which is the way I kind of love punk as well, where it's all about values and you live those fucking values, and they pulled it a download very late in the day, which would have been fucking huge for them and would have basically crushed a lesser band, but they pulled it because of their stance on the current war with Israel and Palestine, of which I will give no opinions on because I want this video to stay on YouTube. However, they did make their stance like that. We were not playing this because of this, and I respect them even more because of that. Musically, they're fucking great. And like to even remotely consider this as being a debut album breaks my brain. It also makes me think, where do you go from here? Like is there a piccolo flutist like in the background? I don't know how that works. It's so well conceived. It's so well put together. It has all the fucking nods and all the like nudges and winks towards the old school, whilst bringing a very contemporary version of their sound in there. We mentioned Denmark, we'll mention it a lot as well. It's difficult to forget how great Australia is for fucking everything. And every now and again, a band appears from there that I'm just like that. Yeah, like they can do pretty much anything. It's a scene we don't often look at. Speed are one of those bands that I genuinely think within 5 years could be the knock loose of what they're doing. I think they could be that fucking big. Yeah. With very little effort. I don't think the band need to change fucking anything. I think everyone else will catch up. So yeah, my number 10, Speed, only one mode. It's out on Flat Spot Records. It came back out in July, number 10.
Awesome. Nice. And Ross, number 10.
So if Speed gets you going and you're all hyped, then you need a little something to calm you down.
Oh no.
A little something to chill out. We spoke about it earlier. This is my walking to work album. If I'm on the early shift on the weekend, this is the album I'm putting on. It is In Lieu of Flowers by Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, who are a sort of acoustic-y, emo, pop punk, tons of saxophone, tons of flute actually as well in there. So this is I actually heard the band without knowing this. It is the singer from the Wonder Years who fronts this band as well.
Wow.
And honestly, I cannot get enough of this album. The first time I listened to it, it never really clicked. And then I could not get the saxophone melody from the title track out of my head. I put it back on again, and now it's in my top 10. This album is, honestly, it's the warmest. It's like that cup of coffee after you wake up. It's so welcoming. It's just such, like, when the backing vocalists all come in as well. So there's like a female vocalist that kind of backs Soupy up on this album, and when they sing together, it's so powerful. It like makes the hairs on my arms stand up. The melodies they play off of each other are honestly exceptional. The title track is potentially my favourite song of the year. Like, if you're going to listen to this album, definitely start with the title track. If you like that, then listen to the full album, because it won't be for everyone, especially for a more kind of metal audience. There's nothing, I don't even know if there's any distortion on this, to be honest. It's all just very chilled out. But this album is excellent. There's a song on it called Alone at St. Luke's, which I thought was really nice, like a song about playing a venue in Glasgow. Speaking about graffiti on the walls, there's a graffiti on the wall that says "fuck the Tories." It's a little on the nose, but it's okay for me. I like this band. This band are good. But yeah, honestly, like, acoustics for days. The sax, like, there's only one other album I'm going to speak about later on that has a smoother saxophone than this. The sax on this is exceptional. But yeah, choruses for days, beautiful melodies, amazing musicianship, and it's got a wee bit of a country feel, which, as we were saying earlier, I'm also not a country guy either, but it's just the right amount, just a wee bit of seasoning on top to make this album stand out. So if you're looking for a bit more of an emo hit after all the heavy stuff that you boys have been recommending, In Lieu of Flowers by Aaron West in the Roaring Twenties.
I've added it. Nice. This could be my
you
Ross's
might hate it,
album
but you might also like
that
it.
ends up making an Instagram post backing track.
That title track, man, that'll hit.
I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Number 9. Number 9. This kind of blew me away, to be honest. Duncan mentioned this one earlier. It was the tagline in their Instagram bio that basically sold the whole thing. A24 black metal, and that was pretty much enough for us to check it out. My number 9 is Still, and their new album Theft, which was released on November 15th via Floodlit Recordings. I mean, you probably know this if you've watched the videos. I'm not the biggest black metal guy. I tend to do a little dabbling now and again, but sometimes it just hits me in the right way. And Still are a band that just have this incredible kind of brew of vicious black metal with a touch of like post-black, post-metal, and it's just coated in something really discordant and noisy at the same time. It's probably heaviest on the black metal side, but those little extras just makes this release a much impressive listen, to be honest. It's, if you've heard Still before, this is probably more stripped back than they've been in the past. This kind of delivers a leaner version, a more aggressive version of the band, where they've just kind of turned the intensity dial right the way up. Not an easy listen. It's like that heavy kind of dissonance and kind of complexity of the album can be quite overwhelming at times, but I found it almost impossible to switch it off. Like, once you hit play, you're in it. And well, it was for me anyway. And we kind of said this on the review. It was very much like watching like an A24 kind of art house movie where your head is fucked, but you can't wait to see how it ends at the same time.
A24 movies are about, I keep stressing this, if you watch an A24 horror movie, all of them, regardless if there's fucking monsters, creatures, people, like, all of them are about the idea of loss. Yep. That's the central core. Listen to this album and they're like, tell me it doesn't make you feel about the loss of something.
Yeah, this is as bleak, it's harrowing, and it kind of leaves you emotionally exhausted. The kind of overarching theme on this is loss and death and like sadness, and you can feel that. They've managed to capture the feeling of like grief throughout the album. It's just very, very menacing, but also kind of cathartic to listen to at the same time. It doesn't really let up. It's like there's no real kind of gaps in this at all. It's like constant. Aside from this kind of like really droning, kind of menacing cello they have throughout the album. But it's one you kind of need to prepare yourself for. It's not. I'll just have a listen to a couple of tracks. You kind of need to listen to the full thing to get the experience. But I thought it was fucking brilliant. It's bleak and it's ominous, but it's delivered in a really impressive way. So my number 9 is Still and A Theft. Duncan, number 9.
This is where we get to just look back in on what other people have said, so strap yourselves in. Mentioned on a previous recording when we were talking about Iris, and you've mentioned it similarly on this recording here about that idea of shoegaze and depth and atmosphere and being able to just sit back and just allow something to take you over.
Yeah.
Whilst I loved it in this album and it did that for me, there was one band that added that element a little bit more over, which just hooked me in. That band would be Outlander, because Children of the Corn, which you'll only get if you're fucking ancient. The album was Acts of Harm. Dave, I don't even know if you still have the vinyl beside you. If you do,
I do.
I don't have the vinyl. I have a streamed copy.
We can CGI it. Hold on.
This is one I bought earlier. There you go. Look how sexy
Look at the
that
colour.
is. Look at that. You know what? Don't you want to own that in your vinyl collection? Yes, you do. It's released by Church Road Records, who really had a fucking phenomenal year again. Look at the colour.
Oh.
I mean, it almost makes me want to be divorced. But I won't do it. I'll never do it, just in case she's watching. It came out in June via Church Road Records, right at the tail end of what would have been our mid-year, and it made my 10 on the mid-year. And whilst other albums dropped off, Outlander did not. It is I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this, it is a stunning, incredible soundscape and something you need to listen to. Good headphones, chill time, carve it out, sit down and just wrap it around you like a warm blanket, and you'll feel at the end of it like you've achieved or you're a better person than you were before you listened to it. So for me, Outlander, number 9, Active Arms, Church Road Records, back out in June.
Sweet. Ross, number 9.
My number. So I spoke about Aaron West in their own 20s there, about how they had a little bit of a country influence. My next album is just a straight up country album.
Ooh.
It is Yours Until the War Is Over by Amigo the Devil.
Ah, yeah.
He is an excellent storyteller. I discovered him from his work with Ross Robinson. Now he's kind of moved on from working with him. But storytelling's not got any less bizarre or outlandish. I don't think this is as strong as maybe his last 2 albums, but the fact that it's still in my top 10 shows you how good a run he's been on. It's All Gone sounds like a sea shanty, like you and the boys pillaging and drinking some, I don't know, rum? Is that what pirates drink? Yeah, some rum.
Rum question mark.
And then I'm Going to Heaven, for me, is the standout moment of this album. A song about doing so much ketamine that you think your wife is dead, so you go down to hell, torture people, so you can get to heaven to kill God to find the guy who killed your wife. Just excellent.
It's like the A24 movie, isn't it? To be honest.
It's A24 Country, actually, I think. But they have such over the top moments like that where the keys are really going, the backing vocals are going. Like this, to me, Amigo the Devil's always felt like a solo artist, whereas this feels like Amigo the Devil, the band now. They have the kind of live band who, I believe this is the first album they've actually kind of helped in the recording process, and it really comes through. It feels like people in a room playing off of each other. There's just a kind of hair down, lackadaisical kind of fun vibe to it that maybe other albums have had little sprinkles of, but this feels like it's really been pushed to the front now. But even with that, the really thing with Amigo the Devil is the storytelling again. There's a song called Garden of Leaving on this, which I forgot to speak about when I reviewed the album in the halfway point. It's a song about just having a miscarriage, and it's the most heartbreaking, very little metaphors, really, that this is what happened and this is what it was like. and to go through something like that and to write a song just so straight to the point, like it really impacted me for some reason. Like it just really hit, and like I feel like when I listen to him, he has this very great way of feeling like he's singing to you and you alone. Like he's looking you in the eye, and this is what he has to say. And this album's got a lot of that. Even "Hanging by the Roots," which is the opening song, is kind of similar to that. But again, it's just, for me, I love albums that I start in one place and end somewhere else, and I'm not entirely sure how I got there. And that's what this album does for me. It's just craftsmanship the whole way, melody, songs, fun, and then also those kind of tearjerker moments that are sprinkled in. If you like, even if you don't like country, I would recommend checking it out. I'm not a country fan myself, but Yours Until the War Is Over is it's a really good starting point, because when you work back, things only kind of get better from there. So if you've never listened to Amigo, this is for me an excellent starting point. So that is mine. Yours Until the War Is Over by Amigo the Devil.
Excellent. Moving on, number 8. So this one's been mentioned already. I'll not go into too much depth. We spoke about this band a lot in 2024.
And he's just like, he doesn't even know he's doing it. He's just playing with us right now. He's like, oh, I'm not going to go into too much depth. Like the album.
I feel like this is one of the most brilliantly planned and thought out albums of 2024. Duncan, you mentioned they've released 3 albums in the year. This was their 3rd album of 2024. It was called The Black Cradle. The band were called Monolith. This one came out on November 29th, and it's just an absolute gem of an album. It kind of kills me that not enough people know about this band, because they are on like a different level. 3 albums, all different styles, but all interlinked into the same concept. And the 3rd album was just perfection for me. It's an hour-long dive into the depths of the ocean.
Oh, what is it doing here?
The kind of album concept is it's like a man's journey into the deep as he searches for the purest form of isolation on the ocean floor.
He's escaping the alien insect invasion, which is also worth stressing has been borne out in the previous 2 albums. And
he's kind of descending in a rudimentary submarine called the Black Cradle. So that's what the concept is. And it's 5, as you said, 5 tracks, each dedicated to a layer of the ocean with a unique musical direction. And the deeper you go, the lower the tuning, the heavier and more visceral the album becomes. And it's just like, what a fucking awesome fucking idea for an album. It's wrapped up in this fucking bleak black metal aesthetic. I mean, I was kind of sold when I read the press release, but when I heard the album, I was just like, fuck me, this is fucking incredible. It's proggy and it's layered and it's very blackened, but the deeper you go, the heavier and more kind of monolithic it gets. I could pick up like hints of like Rivers of Nile and Opeth and Slave. There's a little bit of Meshuggah in there, but just there's so much nuance in this. Another one of those ones that when you hear it, every time you pick something up different on each release, and it's just executed perfectly, I felt. And then the final track is kind of just ended me, to be honest. It's like, was it like 17 minutes or something like that, the final track?
It's their magnet. That's what I'm saying. Like, if they ever come close to writing anything like that, I don't know what we do.
Yeah. Just like, exceptional stuff. I'd like get in on Monolith right now before they go fucking massive. Huge. Because they just seem to be getting better and better. And that was 3 releases in 2024, and from what I hear,
and if memory serves, I can't speak for you, but I think my scoring was first release 4, second release 4.5, last release 5.
Same.
So like it's like
nice.
It's like every time you listen to them, you're like that. How did they better the thing before? That was fucking great. And then like bands take years to do the next album, and it was like within a couple of months you were like that. This is better.
Yeah.
And then we're sitting just like with the Black Cradle, we're just sitting in that review going, it's just like fucking like it's not even next level. It's just The band are like Dave said, like now is the time.
They don't have an off switch either. So
No, God,
2025, I guarantee you something will happen with that band.
6 albums.
I'm there for it. I will do that shit.
yeah,
I will review that
for
shit.
sure. Monolith, The Black Cradle is my number 8. Duncan, what about you for number 8?
Now, Dave.
No.
Any other time, I'm going to put this out here. There's going to be more than one album I say this about. And we do this. We talk about how great it is to be reviewing music now, right? Because I genuinely think, like, post-COVID, this is the most exciting time to be into metal because everyone is, like, everything. And the rule books have been ripped up, but bands, I think, have emerged from what was a time where people were kind of, like, stuck with nothing but their instruments and doing what they're doing. And bands have emerged and they've really had an impact. If we're charting what we've done since, 20, or whenever it was we started, there's a band that's almost been with us through that entire journey. And that band is Mountaineer. I fucking adore Mountaineer. And we are now 3 albums into their career. We've been through Bloodletting, we've been through Giving Up the Ghost, and we have arrived at Dawn and All That Follows, which sees a slight change in the band. They've replaced their drummer and they've replaced their record label, and they're now out on $1,000 Music and Dunk Records. This album, I want to say we had heard by the point we'd recorded our mid-year.
I think we had.
And at that point, I was already like, my 10 is fucked, right? like, why? And we'd already even done a reaction to, like, this came in short order. Like, you claim you told me, and you claimed this video evidence. I didn't know Mountaineer was releasing an album in 2024. I went back and checked that video. Yes, I skipped over certain bits, but never mentioned it. I love these guys. I genuinely love these guys. If there's one thing I love most about coming back to review music is this, like I mentioned in a previous video, go back and check it out, this bizarre made-up genre that we've created, which is kind of like a cross between shoegaze and sludge, and has this dreamy element, but also has a bit of alternative and a bit of grunge, and it's all kind of fucking amalgamated in like a shite Rubik's Cube. And Mountaineer are the band that I first went like that. That's what I love, and I don't know what it is. And they've continued to elevate through every release. I love Bloodletting. Giving Up the Ghost for me was when I was genuinely... We spoke about it. It reminded me of A Ghost Story, which is a movie that Dave hates, which I think is the pinnacle of cinema. And regardless of our feelings on that particular movie, we both loved the album. So that's where we come together, Voltron. And it's moved on. Like, it's moved on to this. Dawn and All That Follows is this band kind of reinvented, but at the same time, I think at their most optimal. This is where they brought in all the elements I've worked on previous albums and refined them, not hugely, but is literally shaving off slight bits off the edge to refine them for the release. It is fucking massive sounding, and they've never had a problem with that, but on this one specifically, and this is a testament to a band returning to a producer that they know they can work with and continuing to build on that relationship as like the kind of the cliche of the unofficial band member. That's what we have here. Their sound is just like, it's impeccable at this stage. It is dreamy, it is huge, it is engrossing, it's warm, it's inviting. It's not lost any of the rough. They'll still occasionally give you a bit of that. Mountaineer should be huge. Like, every time I go back to listen to this album, I'm like, this should be shifting units.
Yeah.
And they're a band that I mention this, and we mention it more and more, and it's because I want to stress how much it's important for people to check out the things we talk about. Mountaineer's a band that should not only be on your radar, they should be in your fucking playlist. They should be in your rotation. You should be listening to them all the time. Dawn and All That Follows is the best thing this band has done to date. And I think we are just still scratching the surface of what this band can actually do. Any other year, Any other year, this is top 3.
Yep.
I would say comfortably any other year, this is top 3 for me. This year is the year where everything that Duncan loves about music happened in his top 5. Like, my top 5, when you get to that video, is literally a tick box of everything I love about music. And as a result of that, some things have slipped down. But that is not to diminish this. This is like a 5-star. Every Mountaineer album thus far has been a 5-star for me. This is the 5-star with a fucking bullet. Check it out. Mountaineer, Dawn and All That Follows. It came back out in July on 1000 Hour Music and Dunk Records.
Awesome. Ross, what you got at number 8?
Number 8. So as I said earlier, when I predicted that Not Loose were going to sweep a lot of awards, what I wasn't expecting was this band to be the other band who sweeps every other award that Not Loose didn't win. It is Absolute Elsewhere by Blood Incantation. This album is fucking unbelievable. When you really think about it, it's 2 songs. It's 2 songs split
I
into
also
6
don't think
parts.
I've ever heard you put a death metal album on any list we've ever fucking done, which surprises me. This is a new.
So
new
this
for
was the
me.
band that kind of opened me up to death metal. The Hidden of the Human Race, what came out in 2019, kind of really opened me up to that sort of thing. Like in the same way Death Heaven kind of got me into black metal. That was kind of my introduction to more kind of death metal stuff.
Yeah.
But this album, it's this was I don't know if you've seen this. Was in Rolling Stone's top 10 albums of the year.
I
This
did
is
not
in-
know that. I know it's
so
been charting, right? I
It's
didn't know that.
with like Brat and Sabrina Carpenter and Chappell Roan. This is just in there, like not top 10 rock albums, top 10 albums. It's just randomly placed in there, which is absolutely exceptional. But honestly, this album is unbelievable. Like, I'm not even the biggest 80s prog fan, but the fact that that's what they're kind of drawn on so much here, like, I know like Rush fans that love this, or Yes fans, or even kind of getting close to the kind of prog that I do like, the kind of Tool fans and stuff like that. This is there for them as well. But the fact that they've got this many ideas is just insane. Like it basically just felt like if you have an idea, just track it and we'll see if we can fit it in. And everything just fit in. Like so they have the Stargate and the Message are the 2 separate parts. The Message kind of being a bit more melodic, which again I wasn't even really expecting. I wasn't expecting as much clean vocals as there actually is on this, but the fact that it doesn't even really feel out of place, like it feels like it, as I was saying before, it feels like you start in one place and end somewhere else. It feels like one continuous story, and I felt like their whole career's been like this, but this is for me anyway. This is such a level up. I cannot believe the sort of stuff they've pulled out in this. That there's harps at one point, all the sort of instruments that are just going on, like everything again feels very calculated, but also feels very much like I was saying. Oh, mate, just track it and we'll see.
Yeah.
I can't believe how cohesive this is for the amount of ideas that it has. And like I say with the Rolling Stone thing, the fact that it's popping up in like just not our sphere at all is insane. Like this is again like such a heavy album. Like I'm speaking on how beautiful and melodic it is, but the fact that it has so much heaviness behind it, like it still has the dirt under its fingernails. Like if I reviewed this album, I think I might have given this objectively the highest score on my list. But other albums are just more kind of catered to my tastes. But objectively, this is for me like I see people online calling it a masterpiece, and I struggle to disagree. I really like this is an album that I don't have yet, but will be getting added to my vinyl collection, and I'll hold it up here next video. And I'll pull it out. But yeah, Absolute Elsewhere by Blood Incantation is
Nice.
a special album.
Yeah. Excellent. Moving on, number 7. Another album that's been mentioned in the earlier videos, so I'll keep this short and sweet. Back from Denmark, and yeah, we speak about Denmark a lot. A lot of killer bands coming out of there. And this is another one of those bands that just fucking blew us away in 2024. Based in Copenhagen and Odense. The band is Demersal, and they put out their second album, which was self-titled and self-released on May 10th. Kind of primarily a chaotic kind of hardcore sound, but also pulling in elements of like post-hardcore and screamo and emo, and touching on black metal a little bit as well throughout the album. And this band, like another band that know how to really deliver intensity, but deliver it with like nuance as well. A lot of this might seem like a straight up, not straight up, but like a hardcore album that's, you know, very jagged and angular and full of like venom and stuff. But as the album goes on, you quickly realize these guys are not your kind of standard chaotic hardcore band. These guys are incredibly dynamic, adding tons of layers to their sound. And there's some real kind of moments of beauty on this album where the band shift into something more light and almost like post-rock inspired. They weave in a real kind of like varied selection of instrumentation as well. So you've got a bit of piano and cello and flute and trumpet on this album. And it's just beautifully wrapped up with some great moments of emotion and great switches of mood on the album in an almost kind of like Death Heaven type way. Yeah, it's got depth, it's got originality, it gives you loads of reward on the re-listens. I think it's another band that they deserve to be on like a big label. Like, my mind is blown that these guys are like putting this stuff out themselves. It really has that kind of special kind of feeling, this album. They almost feel like it has like the kind of raw, like kind of power of like a Converge, but with like these dynamics of like Death Heaven or Shells is another example. But just a really clever mix, and they do it brilliantly, to be honest. I love this album, Demersal and Demersal, which came out back in May. That's my number 7. Duncan, number 7.
Right, I told you, like, when we spoke about Mountaineer, and I was like, listen, any other year, this album's higher.
Yeah.
But, like, there's just so many bands that are just catering my taste. Strap your fucking selves in, because 7 through 1 is just basically a murderer's row of Duncan bands. And the first one in here at number 7 is an 18-minute album.
Yeah,
That's a call I will fucking answer, right? That's a cold call that I'll be like, yes, I do want to buy your broadband. What? The call's only 17 minutes? Let's do this. Manchester. Goddamn Manchester. We never speak about Manchester. You want to know why? Because there's nothing in Manchester except this band. The band are Lure In. The album is We're All Going to Hell, because we are. It was released back in September, because September is hench for releases. It was released on Anti-Mind, which is basically self-released, so it's their record label. Dave sent this to me. We recorded a review on it. I fucking adore this, right? But when Dave sent it to me, it was like a fucking 17-minute track, right? It was just basically one long track. It's the whole album on one track. And I was deeply, deeply confused, right? And I don't read the PR, which made me even more confused. But even then, when listening to it, I could pick out movements, and I was like, I'm curious to find out what the story is. Turns out they did that to everyone, and actually turns out that if you even get the release of the album, they have, like on digital, they have a full version of the album as well, so it kind of makes sense. Anyway, We're All Going to Hell is a combination of, what do they call themselves again? What's the genre? It's like, they have their own genre, and it's something like fucking Hyper Death or something. I don't even fucking know. It's like, Dave will find it while I'm chatting. But it is them, right? This is like punk. This is hardcore. This is industrial. This is dreamy pop. This is all in one fucking album, and it is delivered to you at fucking pace and with no breaks. Like, no track stops, and then one starts, it all bleeds into the next track. It is vicious, it is paced well, and it has this really lo-fi, almost Alex Empire, Atari Teenage Riot sort of production, which, if you're me and you grew up in the 90s and you loved industrial, is just fucking, it's just tickling my fucking asshole while being wanked off, right? It's just the extra thing that I need. It's the thing I need to get to the train station on time. You know what I mean? It's like it is everything I fucking want. And the first I remember reviewing it with you, Dave, and it was like that. I was listening, it was just like chaos all over the place, and then out of nowhere, there was this huge hooky, dreamy section just hit me, and I was like the world opened up. It was like clouds moved away, and I could see fucking blue sky. And they do it often, but they don't overuse it. It is fucking awesome. It's absolutely awesome. And they just continue to work their magic, Dave, all the way through the short run time of their album. I love that. Like, this to me is, of all the finds this year, this is the one I'm most excited about, because this is the one that hasn't had a pedigree of albums that have been on record labels or, you know, like being touted by. This is literally, the band emailed Dave and was like, here. Right? I love that when a band's like that. I know you're busy, I know you're doing things, but if you have a chance, Dave gets like 100 emails a week. And the fact that this even made it through is a miracle. But it made it through and it got a fucking 5 from me, an easy 5 from me, and I'm still playing it to death. Lure in, we're all going to hell. Dave, you've had enough time. What's the name of the genre?
Chaos pop.
It's 100%
Nice.
chaos pop. That does it's Ron Seal. It does exactly what it says on the tin, right? Like, do not like. This is one of these ones I'm really excited. Also, their vocalist violinist, is it vocalist violinist or vocalist backing vocalist, went on to do stuff with our buddy out there in Dawn Walker, which is an album which I really wanted to, but I couldn't do it. But like the involvement there is fucking incredible. Trust me right now, you like by the time you go to fucking like work your way around the supermarket, you could have listened to Lurin. That is literally like, I'm going to buy a meal deal from Tesco. You could have listened to Lurin. It is that fucking quick, and you will not spin it again. Double negative. You will, which means you will spin it again. So yeah, number 7, Lurin, We're All Going to Hell, came out in September on Anti-Mind, aka self-released by the band. It's another self-released classic. Do it!
Nice. Ross, number 7.
My number 7. Feels so strange to have this just above Blood Incantation, but Blood Incantation is, like I said, an incredible album. This is an album that just makes me want to shake my booty. It is Coup de Grace by See You Space Cowboy. This is 2005. Get the fringes in. Get on MySpace. Email your pal because he's getting dropped out your friend list, and we're so back. This is
How
Warped
old
Tour.
were you in 2005, Ross?
10 years old.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Me and Dave had full-time jobs, mortgages, filling in shit, like responsibilities, and you're like,
Oh,
I didn't
I'm sorry you could buy a house for like
in my
25p or whatever, right? But you know, some of us have had to work. This album is, and I believe this is what the kids say, so cunty is what this is.
I'm not going to check with my 10-year-old if that's happening for obvious reasons.
Like, the bass lines on this is just something that I wasn't expecting. It's very danceable, which is something they've never really done before. I felt like they kind of lost the kind of sasscore element, which I really liked about the earlier stuff, but that kind of disappeared a wee bit in the last couple of albums, but that's back now. And their whole thing is that every album, another member of the band kind of pitches in vocally. So now there's like a three-pronged vocal attack that they've never had before. Like, it just sounds exceptional. Like, Chewing the Scenery is comfortably the best song this band have ever written. The chorus on it is exceptional. When I seen them live, they closed with it, and it felt like a last-minute winner at the World Cup. Like, everyone, like, arms up, singing it before that breakdown at the end. Why bother writing a mosh pole when you can just be like, move? And everyone did. Everyone did. I don't even know who Kim Dracula is, but they sound exceptional on this album. Lubricant Like Kerosene is so dancey, like it just gets you off your feet. That's one where the bass line is really thumping. The moans are going, the growls are going, and Connie sounds ferocious on this as well. Like, her scream is so high pitched and so it almost kind of sounds like that band Anal Cunt. Like, she's screaming so fast at times that you can't actually make out a word she's saying, but you just know she fucking means it. And if you don't, she'll spin kick fuck out you anyway. Like the personality on this album, like they done the whole I don't know if you've seen any of the promo shots, but it's like white shirts and then blood hearts over them. It's exactly how this photo shoot should look. It's spot on for the way this album sounds. Just took a couple of shots tonight, but Courtney from Spirit Box is on the album. Also sounds very good. Maybe not got the personality that Connie has, but sings a beautiful melody. I can't believe how far this band have come. The live show for me was what really sealed the deal. But this is a band who I've liked every release, and every time they've grown and grown and grown, and to the point now where I'm like, this band should be bigger. Like, I don't know why they're playing the catty. Like, they've got choruses for days, breakdowns that sound like Unearth at their peak. What more could you want? Like, honestly, I cannot get enough of this album. It's so easy to put on. I think it's like 36 minutes long as well, so it's pretty short. Could grab I See You Space Cowboy. What a cunty time.
Amazing. Okay. We're going to do our number 6, which is going to close out the third part of our top 20. Number 6. Okay, time to talk about one of my favourite duos of 2024.
Oh, so many duos, Dave. So many. Can you count the duos? Yes, 1, 2. That's how you count a duo.
And it's none other than Belgian duo Zencastr with their new album Year 2, released on March 8th via 45 Records. Fuck me, like this is so good.
Just close it there, Dave.
So good.
Gifted from the band.
Gifted by the way. From the band. I must say, I would have bought it anyway, but
hashtag paid promotion.
Hashtag
fucking need to put that on YouTube.
Sexy as
Look
fuck.
at that.
Oh. Beautiful. Yeah, just this is fucking awesome.
I think that was like, did they not? We'll send you something, and then what came through was just too much. You're like,
my guys,
it's not why we do this. I hope you understand.
Yeah, this is Zencastr features members of Amenra. And just like one of the most sonically crushing albums I heard in 2024, like just so imposing, like, and huge. Like the sound of this album is ridiculous. It's like industrial sludge meets like new metal with like fucking hip hop as well. It's just like a real mesh of stuff. But this is a band that can like just slap fucking numerous genres on and still like struggle to describe the sound that you're hearing. It's so diverse, really very experimental. But I like you said earlier, Ross, it's an album you can find so much like new things on every listen to it.
It's candy in it.
Yeah, for sure. Not predictable in the slightest. It's just like the kind of climaxes of the tracks are just like something else. Like they sometimes they'll drop it into like post-metal territory, or even like a really slowed down, sludgy kind of new metal riff, like on like The Sheer Horror of the Human Condition, or sometimes they just go full electronic or full industrial. It's just such a fucking crazy journey that you go on this album, and you can hear like the evolvement from year 1 to year 2. Word on the street is there's a year 3 coming fairly soon, but just produced it themselves, and I think it was either an interview I watched or it was something online where they were talking about the recording of the album and all that, and they basically recorded it and then scrapped it and started again and did the whole thing again because they weren't happy with it. It's fucking nuts. Yeah, they are like fucking one to watch. I think they said they're planning on doing 4. I think it's year 4. I think is what they're planning on, like 4 different kind of albums.
Nice.
So I don't think it'll be too long before we hear the next stage of the band. But yeah, Zencastr year 2, like phenomenal album. Need to check that out. That's my number 6. Duncan, what you got at number 6?
It's not often that I say I'm colossally disappointed in used to, but here we go. Yeah, this album should be much higher for both of these. I want to put it this way. I have been on the hype train for Chat Pile, right?
Oh, right.
I love that previous release, right? So my interest was like the one thing that confused me the most is because Chat Pile are still not necessarily huge. I didn't know this album existed, or it had even been released till about 2 weeks after it came out, because like me and Dave aren't going to review it because Dave wasn't higher on the previous one, and he gave it away to, my name is Jeff, like gave it away to Jeff. Jeff, I'm talking to you right now. Don't you ever claim a Chat Pile album where I, myself, and Dave himself could sit down and do a review of it, and I could talk Dave into why he was wrong and everything. But I'm glad that this has been the kind of Rosetta Stone entry for both of you to go back and appreciate the thing before. I was in on the ground floor. I fucking loved that previous release. Cool World to me is just holy fucking shit. This band needs and will be huge. This to me is like this. Like, see when people say level up and you listen to it, you're like that. Oh, the guitars are heavy. Yay. You know, oh, they found a new distortion pedal. Oh, the vocalists can now do pig squeals. Or, you know what? The drummers learned a blast beat. That's not leveling up. What is leveling up is where every aspect of the band is better than what it was before. And Cool World is the very definition of every aspect of what the band did before is now elevated and better. This is dripping. I'm glad Ross mentioned the new metal and he mentioned the corn. This is dripping in corn. There's a lot of this in here where I'm listening to things and I'm going, that's fucking like mid-2000s corn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, I joked about Field Day with the bass, but there's a thick bass underneath that, but the riffs aren't Deftones. Hello, anyone? There's bits of Deftones, Deftones and the weird bits like Pink Telephone and all that shit where you're listening and going, why is this on the album? Gino, just sing. Why is this woman talking to me? Like weird shit like that goes on here, but there's a swath of 80s in here as well, that kind of almost kind of quasi The Cure, The Smiths, but with something menacingly heavier. The production is fucking ridiculous. Like, Poison Rune for me, I was like, when we talked about that band, I was like, this is the perfect approach to releasing something like this, and most people will fucking hate it because it sounds like a badly recorded, copied fucking cassette tape, which is how people used to listen to music about a decade before you were born, Ross. Right? Because you listen to them on cassettes, right? And they were horrible and no one liked them, but we had to make do. And everything is better now, so I'm not going to complain and say things were better in the old days. Chat Pile have this production which feels like a kind of almost like an Instagram, like rustic filter that exists while still retaining what I would class as a modern heaviness that shouldn't exist with both those sounds. And the clash between the two makes them sound infinitely unique. I can't think of another band right now that sound like Chat Pile. They do what Chat Pile are doing at the level that they're doing it, with the melody that they incorporate. I've been walking around my house since I listened to this album, and every now and again when I'm losing an argument, which isn't often in my household because I'm always fucking right, I will say, I am dog now. I am dog now. And my family won't speak to me. And it's why I record in the basement of my house. And it's why I have time to record shows for 4 hours and go to the cinema with Dave on a whim, because no one's talking to me. But I am dog now, and that's all that fucking matters. And Cool World is an incredible album. And I think I'm calling it now. I'm Babe Ruthing it. Next 2 years, I'm going to say next Chat Pile release, when we come to the end of the year, all of us will be top 5 for that album.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Either they are fucking there, man. They are just a wee bit more of something, and we're all going to be saying this is the band. It's too fucking good. So number 6 for me, closing out this video, Cool World, Chat Pile on the Flenser. Terrible name for a record label, but fair play to them. Came out in October. There you go.
Excellent. Finally, number 6, Ross.
So Duncan just said that he was disappointed in us for not having Chat Pile that high. Imagine my disappointment in news. I was so excited for this album. I was buzzing about it. Love it. Posting the group chat all excited about it. Like, no, Ross, this album sucks. It's not as good as the last one. We're going to get Jeff on the podcast going forward. You're wrong.
Jeff.
But you know what they say? Sometimes even a working clock is wrong twice a day. And it is. Closing this section of the show out is Melodies of Atonement by Leprous. Look, sometimes you're wrong. It's okay. This is the last chance if you want to admit you're wrong now. Very silent. Okay, I'll move on.
I'm wanting to double down right now. So, but I love you, Ross, and I understand that you're younger, so you're entitled to the mistakes you'll make that you'll regret later on.
I don't understand how you can listen to the title track of this and not think it's fucking unbelievable. I will, as you were saying when you're arguing with your wife, when I am walking around to my house, I'll see my cat and it'll just be so peaceful. As you seen earlier, jump on the screen. And I'll pick them up and I'll be like the guy from Leprous. It's all because of you. And I'll give them a big kiss in the head. I think
in fairness, it's all because of you. It's all because of you is a nicer thing to scream out than I am dog right now. You know what I mean?
If I screamed that at my cat, that'd be a bit weird to be fair. Like I messaged you earlier, this felt like what you were saying about your top 10, Duncan. It felt like just a checklist of things that I like.
Yeah.
I think Limbs has that kind of creepy Issues era Korn style. That's my favourite era of that band. I was getting like Fiona Apple sort of production and just sleaziness as well. It's impossible to talk about Leprous and not mention the vocals. Like, it's just, even you guys were big on the vocals because how can you not be? And what I will say is what you've had as your criticism is it's like they've stripped a lot away, which they have. There's a lot of their orchestration is gone. But it kind of works for me because when I got into them in the Congregation, they didn't really have that then either. So it kind of feels more like a throwback to the band that I first fell in love with, rather than them kind of stripping parts away. This is how you used to be. So it kind of felt more like a throwback album to me.
Yeah.
Like a Sinking Ship, for me, is like the song that's the closest to that sort of old, like The Price or kind of some of those older songs. They've not really done a song in that style, like that's so Scandi.
Yeah.
So to hear them go back to that sort of thing felt like, oh, I remember when you used to only write songs like this. So to kind of hear that felt just like oh no, we don't do that anymore, but we can. This is just showing you that we can do it. So that kind of, for me, felt like such a, alright, well, if you take that sound and what you've done in the last maybe 2 or 3 albums and now start mixing stuff, where are we going to go next? So for me, I'm really excited to see where this next one goes. Are they going to keep the string? Are they going to bring the strings back? Are things going to be dumbed down? But for me, it's a win-win. Like I cannot get enough of this. When I don't know what to put on, this is the album I'm chucking on. Again, this guy's voice could melt butter.
He's
unreal, isn't he?
Pound for pound, he's probably one, like in terms
he's
of
one of the
and
best,
melody,
yeah.
he's probably one of the best going around right now.
But
so.
and not to just only speak about kind of the one track, but for me, it's in Atonement. It's the guitar melody for me that caught me in. It's so simple. It's just 2 notes, but it's utilised so effectively under the vocals that when I think of that song, I'm singing that guitar riff. So for me, like, it's such a hit. Like the kind of spooky, almost eerie, dark and corner vibes of this album for me just really got its hooks into me. So I'll defend it. Melodies of Atonement by Leprous is my number 6.
I'm going to say that I went through my entire life not understanding why my mum would say things to me like, it's a phase and you'll grow out of it, until right now. And now I understand it. Ross, this is a phase and you will grow out of it.
I hope you're wrong.
Okay. That is part 3 of our top 20, counting down 10 to
lightning
6.
speed at an hour.
Wow.
Let's not make this more than half an hour, boys. 58 minutes.
I'm not going to jinx this one, and the next one I'm going to say it's an hour, and watch us come in that 2 hours.
Join us on part 4, where we will be chatting our number 5 down to our number 1. Catch you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Right.
Don't